Hello everyone and welcome back to the Snazzy Comments episode 3. This time, I wanted to talk about some things that I've been up to lately and things that I'm hopefully getting up to soon. One of those being, as you know, I mentioned in the last episode, I didn't have a phone. I don't have a working phone. That should be arriving fairly shortly at some point. Apple is being very vague about when exactly, but hopefully we're getting that back. That's awesome. I'm also having my university graduation, so yay for me. I'm still doing another year, so I have more free time to make more videos for you guys, so that's all wonderful. As you have noticed, it is not simply War Thunder or Enlisted playing in the background. In fact, it's not a war game at all. This is, of course, One Piece Odyssey. People wanted to see me play other games on the channel, regardless of what they may be, and I figured the Snazzy Comments is at least a good place to show in the background other things that I get up to, you know, other games. And so One Piece Odyssey is going to be playing in the background for most of this video. Anyways, I wanted to start off the Snazzy Comments video by giving you guys to have something to have a flame war over in the comment sections. So the question of the day is, because I wanted to make a top 5 for a YouTube Shorts, the best looking planes of World War II. Best looking planes of World War II. Top 5 best looking planes of World War II. What are they in your opinion? Because I was trying to nail this down to just 5, and it is bloody difficult to try and do so. Because, well, there are more than 5, obviously. And some are beautiful in, like, just a sort of elegant kind of way. Some are beautiful in, like, a badass kind of way, like the Hellcat and the Thunderbolt. And some are a bit of both, like the Lightning or the Griffin Spitfires. But if I had to pick my top 5, oh, God. If I had to actually boil it down to 5, I'll narrow it down to planes that were actually used in combat, which makes it ever so slightly easier. For me, it would be the Lightning, the Griffin Spitfire, the Yak 9U or the Yak 3, one of the two, the B-29 Super Fortress, and... oh, this is where it gets hard. Do I choose the Mustang, the Warhawk? Do I choose the BF-109G? The ME-262? See, this is why I needed your guys' help. I need you to help me pinpoint what exactly are the best 5 best, you know, World War II aircraft. Best looking World War II aircraft, purely from a visual standpoint. I wanted to include things like the F-80 Shooting Star and the Meteor, but they weren't really necessarily used in the combat. And even then, I'd probably choose the F-80, or I guess it would be the P-80 over the Meteor, perhaps. So yeah, that's a little icebreaker for you to all sink your teeth into in the comments. For now, though, I'm going to read out some of your comments. So, starting with a question by Weird Loki. What is your favorite squad type in Enlisted? For example, anti-tank or sniper? Also, at the time I'm writing this, congratulations on 500 subs. Hopefully you get to 1,000 soon. Yes, thank you everybody for 500 subscribers. Luckily, we've managed to reach that a lot sooner than my first account did. Hopefully we can get back to where we were fairly swiftly. So thank you all, everyone, for 508 subscribers as of recording this. Anyways... yeah, favorite squad type? Well, that's kind of an odd question, because in Enlisted you can mix and match. Like, a sniper squad isn't just gonna, well, it can, but isn't just gonna consist of snipers. An anti-tank squad isn't only gonna have anti-tank squads in it, or anti-tank squad members. You can mix with regular riflemen, assaulters, medics, that sort of thing. Anti-tank, earlier on, it was probably my anti-tank squad, because... you know, you kind of needed one to stand a chance. You still kind of do. Tanks are just very dominant in the lower tiers. And if you don't have someone with a bazooka, well, you're going to struggle. But then again, that is kind of negated because you can just chuck a TNT patch thing on the back of a tank and blow it up that way. So that kind of works. But getting the first bazooka, oh, that was a world of difference compared to what you've been using previously. Yeah, the first bazooka was very handy indeed. So, yeah. I don't know. Sniper, I've finally got myself a useful sniper. The Lee Enfield No. 4 Mark 1 sniper is very, very nice. However... I don't know. Can I cheat and say the tank squad or the plane squad? Because they're definitely the ones I have the most fun in. They're definitely the ones I'm best at. And they're definitely the ones I get the most points in as well. So, yeah. But then again, they're hit and miss. Like, you can go a whole plane game without seeing another plane. And that's quite disappointing. Also, I don't know what it is. Ever since I've gone up to tier 4, suddenly my tanks just aren't very effective. It's like all of a sudden that I'm encountering about 50% more anti-tank mines, more TNT pouches, more very strong rocket launchers, which just completely negate the use of tanks, which I just didn't feel in tiers 2 and 3. So hopefully that changes, because I would like to have some fun in my new tanks. But hey, if I'm cheating, then yes, I'll say the tank squad is my favourite. DDog96 Plays asks, what is your favourite American tank destroyer in either War Thunder or whatever? In War Thunder, it'd have to be the Hellcat. Come on, I'm not calling it a light tank. I don't care what War Thunder says. They are clearly wrong. Everyone in the NAN calls it a tank destroyer, except War Thunder, who used to call it a tank destroyer. Unfortunately, they don't anymore, just because, what, because it's fast and it has thin armor? Really? Is that it? I get it's probably a balancing thing to make it do more as a light tank, or just to give the US a light tank, but it really isn't a light tank. It's a tank destroyer. So if we can cheat and I can put that, then it would have to be the Hellcat. In real life, I'm not really sure. Would it still be the Hellcat? I don't know. In game, it would definitely be the Hellcat though. Shenzhen223 asks, what's your opinion on the IS-3? Do you recommend playing it? Yes, I do. Obviously, nowadays, with the matchmaking getting a little bit iffy around 7.0, where you get the very nasty up tiers. Yeah, I mean, just good luck fighting the tanks with Sabo, Heat FS, and missiles. But other than that, the IS-3 is good. I'm amazed there are still people that complain about it just because it has a long reload. I know it has a long reload. Sure, that doesn't mean you're not going to kill things very quickly, but it's fine. It has, in a good matchup, it has some of the best armor tier for tier in the game. It's still got a very powerful and reliable gun. It's not even slow either. And it's a nice looking tank. The IS-3 is just a reliable bit of fun in what I would consider towards the top end of what I actually like to play in War Thunder. So yeah, I recommend the IS-3. Sus Thunder I6S is asking, can you recreate some scenes from Girls and Panzer series movie or finale? That's a good idea. I need to get participation from everybody to do that. Obviously, I can't really do that by myself. And as fun as it would be, yeah, I don't know. I need to phrase this properly. I'd have to wait a while, I think, because I feel like the size of the Discord now, well, it'd just be way too difficult to organize, because it would be like trying to get monkeys to sing, basically. Not calling all my Discord fans monkeys, but, you know, I imagine things will be difficult with timings and people attending and actually getting people to cooperate in a sort of acting scenario. So, for now, no, but I would very much like to do it properly. I think you can have a whole lot of potential with that. So, yeah, I'd like to do it in the future. The Funny Aussie asks, can I be let out of the basement now? No, I do not have a basement. Or a basement guy. Aussie, you are not the basement guy. Although, that said, if I were to have one, it would probably be you. You are my resident War Thunder skin maker, so get back to work and make those skins, so I can make my, my Super Corsair look very snazzy. At least snazzier than it already does. Because, well, for those that don't know, the Funny Aussie is very talented when it comes to War Thunder skin making. And when I say very talented, he's the only person I know that can do it. So, who knows if he's that talented. I think his work's pretty great, though. So, yeah. Until then, Aussie, you will continue to create wonderful skins for me. I'm kind of picturing, spoiler warning, like a sort of Season 5 of Breaking Bad Jesse, when he's been, like, captured by, I don't know, the cartel or whoever it is. And he's kind of just chained to a basement and forced to do nothing but make crystal meth. That's kind of how Aussie is with me, making my War Thunder Live skins. But it's fine, because we balance it out with wholesome conversations about One Piece, so there's that. Sneaky Steve asks, where is my Sea Power video? Yeah, I guess I'm kind of guilty of that one. To be fair, Sea Power is very fun, but I did warn that I probably wouldn't be very good at it, and I'm not very good at it. I managed to play the first level, if you will, the first scenario, the easiest scenario, And it was fine. It was fun. About half the time I thought I was doing something wrong because it took way too long to bombard this shore. I was like, how long does it take to blow up this little building? But fair enough. We managed to do it. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's give it another go. And then things kind of went wrong. I tried another scenario where we had like 3 like Russian task forces. We had like some large cruisers that had helicopters on or something. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I think it was in the North Sea somewhere near Scandinavia. And we were meant to be intercepting some NATO thing. Whatever. It takes a while. Sea power is not a fast game unless you fast forward it. So I was getting a bit tired. I had sent out a reconnaissance helicopter, was trying to find stuff, found all the wrong ships because they were just like regular civilian freighters. And then, you know, I increased the speed to put it on like ×5 speed. And before I know it, suddenly the whole NATO fleet shows up and has launched missile strikes on 2 of my cruisers and basically sank them immediately. So I went from nothing to fast forwarding the time to suddenly everything happening within that fast forwarded time, and then I lost. So I was like, yeah, yeah, that's not great. So I didn't really enjoy it. And then I tried another scenario set in Madagascar where we had to like evacuate something using a bunch of helicopters and some like helicopter carriers. You can launch Harriers and things. It seemed pretty interesting. I kid you not, I did the entire mission. Launched all the Sea Knight helicopters. They flew inland to Madagascar. They picked up whatever they're meant to pick up from the area. Apparently they was in like a heated zone, so expect some resistance. Didn't get any resistance. Helicopters picked up the things, flew back to the carrier. At some point one of my boats sank. It never actually told me how, but it sank. I sent up some Harriers to look around. I activated the search radars. There were some local Mirage F1s that I think belonged to Madagascar, which were also on my side. Didn't find a single enemy. Not a thing. And I spent a good hour and a half playing this thing. Nothing showed up at all for the entire time of playing. So, yeah, that was fun. I don't know if I actually finished it. I think I finished it. But for a game, you know, that's meant to have like these specific scenarios where these specific things happen and you have to see how you'll deal with them. Well, that scenario was basically nothing happening. I might as well, if I had done nothing, if I had just let the Sea Knights take off and fly to the middle of Madagascar and back again, which would have taken, without the speed up feature, would have taken like 3 hours or something. If I had pressed nothing, touched nothing on my keyboard, I still would have won the game. There literally no enemy presence for the entire mission. And that was just boring. So maybe it was a game bug, I don't know. And also ever since then, ever since I tried to reboot the game, the frame rate is like at 5 frames a second and it looks terrible. So for now, no Sea Power video, but I'm sure we can get one running in the near future. Finnish Walmart shopping bag wants to know, is top tier really worth grinding for? Let's read what else they have to say. Right now I am entering the Jet Age and entering the mid-Cold War era of tanks. From what I've heard, top tier air is just missile spam simulator, but I haven't really heard much about top tier ground. I think it's similar to the light vehicles in the mid-Cold War era of the tank, like Marder, which I have been enjoying playing. Yeah, I mean, obviously, whatever floats your boat. I can't stand top tier, air or ground. I think air is worse because there are more funky keybinds that I don't know about, whereas the gameplay, or at least the controls for the top tier tanks, stays more or less the same, with the exception of the AAs, where you got to worry about some radars and all that bollocks. But if you enjoy it, then go for it. I won't stop you, but I just don't like it, personally. There is more to that top tier air than just missile spam, but oh man, it hits you like a brick wall. Like, you go from like fairly consistent dogfights with your guns to some dogfights with guns and some missiles which don't work most of the time, to suddenly flying along, you've taken off, about 5 minutes later you were hit by a missile from, I kid you not, 50 kilometers away that you just didn't even see coming. So yeah, whenever it isn't like that, I just don't really understand what's going on. I'm less interested in the technology. So for me, no, top tier is not worth grinding for. And I always say this as a bit of advice to players. Take your time, because don't rush to the top tier, because the lower mid tiers are probably where you'll have the most fun. Don't be tempted just to get the F-15 to show it off to all your friends, because, Well, yeah, it's just not really worth it. So, yeah. But early Cold War is kind of my sweet spot. I don't really progress much beyond, like, 1965-ish for air and ground. You know, like, the height of my comfort zone would be around where the Super Sabre is, and the, at most, maybe 8.0 for tanks with the M60. Who knows? Signer Reperda, if I've pronounced that right, wants to know, how long does it take on average to edit a video? Well, it can take a various amounts of time. The reason I stopped putting in the text boxes for these Snazzy Comment videos, where it would read out on screen who was asking the question and what the question was because it was adding just like another 30 minutes to an hour of editing, which was kind of unnecessary. Because if you're paying attention to the video, you'll be able to listen to when I've answered your question. So there wasn't much point in me adding another thing. But on average, it varies. It varies. It can take 1 hour if it's a really short, simple video. It can take about 20 minutes if it's a short. It can take 2 hours. I'd say the average maybe is 2 to 3 hours these days. But they've taken way longer. For example, the iceberg videos I made. The first one was about 32 hours, I think. The second one was about 41 hours. Which makes it all the more heartbreaking that they are both gone forever now. So, yeah. But that's about average. But that's about 2 to 3 hours is about the average. Fubar asked, should Enlisted get a World War I or modern Cold War mode? Well, that's the thing. Honestly, with the way Enlisted works, I think it could work quite easily. A World War I mode would fit in perfectly fine, I guess. But then again, considering they've started at the beginning of World War II, or just before it, you probably could have made the argument that they should have began there, or well, they shouldn't have began there. If they wanted to add World War I, then they should have started with World War I, transitioned through the interwar period, then got to where they are now, so that the current reserve stuff is kind of mid-tier, or low mid-tier. As for modern, it would become a generic modern shooter, and yeah, you could make it work, but I don't think it should go that far. Early Cold War, definitely. I don't see why not. But this is a dangerous line to walk. As fun as it would be going on to the Korean War, seeing IS-3s and that sort of thing, the M46 pattern and, you know, a Thunderjet, that sort of thing. Great, but that only applies for two nations. Because Germany and Japan can't go that far. And you don't want to see, you know, this is a problem War Thunder ran into. War Thunder was originally just before, during, and just after World War II technology. And then they progressed beyond that, and they encountered all kinds of problems which they don't like to admit. Problems like modern or more modern combat just doesn't necessarily translate well into the way War Thunder works. Things like missiles. The game was never designed to have missiles in, and now it's trying to adjust. Things like radar. The game was never designed to have radar in. Supersonic planes, you know, kinetic rounds, saber rounds, composite armor on tanks. The game wasn't designed with that. So it's kind of been struggling to adapt to these new technologies. And the second problem is the Axis powers just don't have their own technology in that time. So the tech trees become unbalanced, because realistically, if your two options are do what Wargaming did and try avoid copy paste as much as possible, and then give Japan and Germany some like blueprint designs, some paper tanks, some paper planes, some paper weapons, and just hope people are happy with that. Because half the time people are happy. Personally, I don't mind it as long as there's some evidence to back it up. Like a blueprint drawing or a wooden mock-up is fine with me. But some people think it's fake and it shouldn't exist. But you either do that or you do what War Thunder's done and just give everyone the same things, because that's what happened. You know, after World War II, Japan and Germany became part of, well, they more or less became allies, if you will, with the rest of the world. Well, like with NATO at least. And then they were just given technology from other countries, like sabers, like G91s, that sort of thing, M47s. They would get the same technology. So again, what's the point in playing Germany if you're no longer getting German technology? So that's the problem with, yeah. As fun as it would be to see a Cold War or Korean War mode, I don't think it would work with all of the tech trees, unfortunately. Swerve Nafo has a question. He says, okay, Snazzy, having watched your recent FAT video, excellent, by the way, thank you very much, I thought it was pretty good myself. I do have this question, do you always try and land properly, that is, with wheels down, etc.? I found when speed is an issue, or laziness, that a fast belly landing is generally the faster way to go. Well, faster as in, like, you slow down quicker, yeah. Sometimes much faster. I'd like to know your thoughts. Yeah, well... No, I don't try and belly land. I try and be as professional as I can when it comes to landings. The reasoning, I don't really know. I just, you know, if you're flying your plane properly, you might as well land it properly. I would say that belly landing is a lot more dangerous because there is a chance you'll do it wrong and your plane will just explode on the runway, which is obviously disappointing. Not the result you're looking for. But... no, I just try to look professional, even when I am in a hurry, even when there is somebody about to run me down or, you know, I got to get back in the air quicker. Because the thing is, doing a good belly landing will, because of the friction and resistance, it will slow your plane down a lot quicker than landing on your wheels and using the brakes. But it's just not as cinematic, really. You know, I like to be professional where I can when I do these things. I'd rather just land the plane normally. Some people just belly land because they genuinely don't know how to land properly, which is abysmal, really. Like, some people get to pretty high tiers and they still don't know how to land properly. Like, really? Is it that hard? No. Just learn to play the game. Landing your plane is part of an aerialistic battle, so just learn to do it. I don't really see why people couldn't. I sort of understand wanting to get back in the air quickly, but, you know, when there's nothing going on, is it really that important to shave off 15 seconds by just doing a belly landing? Probably not. Not really. Ali has a wonderful question here. Is thy end now? Yeah, thy end is in fact now. Thy end is nigh, as some would say. I'm hoping thy end will be when, well, it's the end of my university course, I suppose, because I've got my graduation. But... I'm doing an extension of the course, so I'm there for another year. Obviously, I'm not trying to say that when I finish that, the YouTube channel will end. No, it won't. I don't know what will happen. I'm going to keep the channel around. I'm just not necessarily sure how free or consistent uploads will be after that point. Something else I wanted to talk about, it could be a possible video in the future, would be a game on Steam called Ground of Aces. Now, Ground of Aces is... I've been following its development for a little while, actually. A couple of years following them on Instagram. It's basically a sort of base builder game for PC and maybe other consoles in future, where you create your own airbase. For now, it's a World War II RAF airbase, and you know, gradually level it up and, you know, increase the sort of infrastructure. You build tarpaulin tents and runways and hangars and planes and cooking and that sort of thing. It seems like a very interesting kind of game to play. I played the alpha test a few months ago, and I won't lie, I wouldn't say I wasn't impressed, but I couldn't figure out the controls. You'd think it'd be fairly simple to try and learn how to play a base builder game, but oh boy, it was very complicated. But now that it's actually in early access, I think I might give it another go. So let me know if you'd like to see that on the channel. If you'd like to see me play Ground of Aces, then yeah, let me know. Because the Steam Summer Sale is on. Obviously, this isn't one of the ones that is on sale, but there's a couple games floating about, and this is that opportunity to play more games on the channel. Obviously, we don't really know what will stick, what is going to be popular. I don't only want to do the things I know will be popular. I definitely don't want to be a trend follower in that sense. That's not what the channel is about. But it's an idea to branch out. I would at least like to keep things themed. And maybe if you guys want to see me play non-war-based games, then they can go as background footage in the Snazzy Comments video, as you're seeing today. Because... you know, I'm having fun playing these other games. I like to play other games, and I will admit my enlisted grind phase is probably over. I'm still going to play it now and then, but I have gone from tiers 1 to 4 out of 5 in about, I don't know, less than 2 months. So it feels weird, considering that is basically reserved to top tier and War Thunder. Granted, the enlisted grind is probably a little bit shorter, and I have had premium for some of that time. Yeah, imagine going from tier 1 to... well, rank 8 in War Thunder that quickly. That's insane. It would probably take longer, but still. yeah, I'm definitely slowing down the amount I'm playing Enlisted, so we're always on the hunt for new games, and I'd love to feature other games on the channel, like the Wargaming products. I know there's a bit of a touchy subject amongst War Thunder fans, but hey, they make a better naval game at the very least. That's for sure. So, yeah, but you have all sorts of videos to look forward to. I think, so just keep on the lookout. And you never know, maybe next time in Snazzy Comments you might see more One Piece Odyssey gameplay, if that is just something you're interested in. I've always wanted to do videos on other things, or even a channel on other things, but the problem is, you know, once you've hit that trend, or your channel is actually starting to take off, it is actually quite difficult to do it a second time, because for anything, all you know, the first time could have been a fluke. Could have been a fluke, so doing it again is quite a scary jump that you have to take, and it's quite demoralizing seeing it not happen. So I'm a little bit afraid to start another channel dedicated to something entirely different. So I want to use this as a sort of launch pad, grow this one, and use it as a launch pad to then have another account, if you will, or at least start using that as popularity to get views for things outside of what you normally know me for. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Just bear that in mind. And that is pretty much all we have for this episode of the Snazzy Comments. Be sure to comment all your new comments down in the questions below. You know, comment whatever you want. Can be via the comment section here or in the Snazzy Comments chat on the Discord. Make sure you join that, by the way. It's more popular than ever, so yeah, and thank you all again for 500 subscribers. I know it's a fairly small amount, but considering we had to restart something like 2 weeks ago, yeah, it's nice to get it back. So thank you again, and I'll catch you all in the next one.